The Milwaukee Bucks are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They're third in defensive rating, and Jrue Holiday is definitely a big reason why. So let's start his defensive breakdown. Starting with his on-ball defense, pay close attention on how he's using his active hands to disrupt Kawhi Leonard. I can't stress how important having active hands on defense is. Jrue Holiday is a master at this. He always has his hands in the perfect position to make a play on the basketball. There are many ways to have active hands when guarding on the ball. One way is like when Holiday had his hands in Kawhi Leonard's face, and another way he uses his hands is by sticking them out in the passing lanes. Now let's talk about his ability to get around screens. Watch how he spins off of the screen and immediately attaches back to DeMar DeRozan. This is pure skill and instinct, and to be able to be perfectly unbalanced after the spin is what really makes this play insane to watch. Spinning off of screens like this isn't really a good idea, unless you're Jrue Holiday, of course. Now watch this play. He notices the DeAndre Ayton screen, so he fakes left and wraps tight around the screen. Also notice how he keeps that right hand on the offensive player's back. This allows Holiday to gauge the distance. Now watch how he gets skinny on this screen. Getting skinny on a screen is basically standing up and making yourself as thin as possible in order to get around the screener while also sticking to your man.
Cheryl was following the Bucks all season long. Starting five has been tremendous in this first half. Meanwhile, Trae Young continues to have problems, and it's Holiday hanging. Physical with Young and doing a very good job here in the first half. Young gets the shot off. Giannis with the lead pass. Holiday ahead of the field.
Now let's focus on his one-on-one isolation defense. Holiday is the best on-ball defender in the NBA. He has amazing lateral quickness and anticipation. He is elite at beating the offensive player to a spot and cutting them off. But watch on this play how he absorbs the contact with his chest, then he does the chest bump steal. This is one of his favorite defensive moves to pull off in isolation situations, and the reason it's so effective is because once he creates contact, the offensive player naturally stops, and if the ball handler slows down, then so will the ball. This concept is very basic, but it requires elite timing. And Holiday isn't just the best isolation defender because he can steal the ball, because you can't get a steal every single possession, but what he does do every possession is force the toughest shot possible, and that's the main objective as a defensive player. You want to send a message to the offensive player that you aren't no pushover. You want the offensive player to fight and battle for every single point, and that's the principle Jrue Holiday lives by on the basketball court. On ball, he makes his opponents uncomfortable in a lot of ways, either active hands or just getting physical with you.
Holiday and Booker, these two have been fun to watch when they're matched up against each other. Booker trying to use his strength. Shot clock winding down. Tough fall-away shot. It's good! Oh, what a tough shot from Devin Booker.
Durant kicks it back out to Shamet. Shot clock down to 4. Durant's got to go with it and left it short.
Kyrie Irving dancing in the paint. Layup in and out.
Now let's focus on his off-ball defense. This is where his intelligence really shows. Watch how he sits in the gap. He's positioned perfectly in order to help on the drive and be directly in the passing lane between the nearest open shooter. And in situations like this, position is everything, because if Jrue Holiday plays too deep, he will be out of reach for the steal, and if he plays too far up on the nearest shooter, then he will be late helping on the drive. Another thing he does well off the ball is dig or swipe at the ball on drives. Watch how he perfectly times the swipe as Devin Booker starts to raise the ball above his head. One of my personal sayings is to leave your fingerprints on every defensive possession, and that's exactly what he does. Being able to force turnovers off the ball is extremely important to a team's defensive success. And the thing we're going to cover next that pertains to his off-ball defense is something I call a blindside steal. I came up with this term after this play right here. Holiday anticipates Devin Booker turning back to his left, and he is right there in perfect position to take the ball away. And I call it a blindside steal because Booker had no idea Holiday was near him. Here against the Pelicans, he does the same exact thing to Herbert Jones. Then he does it against Jason Tatum twice. Now let's talk about one of his most unique defensive abilities, being able to guard bigger players. And even though Williamson scored the bucket, it didn't come easy. Watch how Holiday slides left and absorbs the contact. And as you know, Williamson weighs over 270 to 280 pounds, so this just shows how strong and sturdy Jrue is. And on this next possession, he locks him down by using his insane lateral quickness and then used those active hands we talked about earlier. Just a masterful possession from a great defender. And another thing he does when guarding bigs, especially in the post, he likes to go for strips and swipe downs. And as a guard guarding bigs, this is definitely a must, because no matter how good of an undersized post defender you are, you're still small compared to a center. So your main focus should be to get the ball out of the offensive player's hands before they just simply rise up over you or begin aggressively backing you down.
Shot clock to 5. Collins had a knockout of his.
And that'll be all for this video. Let me know what other players' defense you want me to break down. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more NBA defensive content.